everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And it's Sunday and I always go live at Sunday at 12 noon Pacific. So I'm hoping there'll be some people jumping on and joining me. Today I thought I'd show you how to make a box. It's a pretty easy box, but it's great for giving away some of your cards. Putting some Easter treats in a box. And so mine is going to be decorated using the Flowering Tulips bundle for Easter. But you can use this for anything. So this is a perfect size box. It actually fits cards with envelopes perfectly. So you can make this at any time of the year and give away some of your cards. I know if you're like me, you have lots of cards. I won't say, I was going to try to, I don't know, hundreds of cards. I really need to find a place to good homes for some of my cards. Hey, Lynette, welcome. So I thought I'd make this box for you again. This will fit some treats for Easter or some cards or for whatever you want to put in it. So let me switch over to my desktop and we will get started. All right, I'm going to try and watch comments. I've got my phone here. Let's see if I've just make sure I can see that we are live. Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's take these off for the minute. I'll give you these measurements, but we're going to use, or I'm going to use the Flowering Tulips bundle. So I love this bundle. I'm not going to stamp with it, which is surprising because I'm going to stamp Happy Easter, which there isn't an Easter sentiment on this one. I am using the dies with mine. So I'm going to make some tulips and I'm using this great border die on my cards. And the stamp set that I'm actually going to use is the Easter Friends stamp set. And I'm just using the Happy Easter sentiment from it. Hello, Darlene from Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure it's Darlene. I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure. All right, so let me show you the sizes. So you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. Now I'm using basic white for the bottom, thick basic white for the bottom, and gorgeous grape for the top. So you need a piece that is 8 inches by 6.5 inches. And we're going to score that at 1 inch from each side. So the finished size of this box is 6 inches by 4.5. And then for the top, I'm using Gorgeous Grape. Now, I've got it 8 1/8 by 6 5/8. If you find that slightly too big, you can reduce it by 1/16 of an inch. So it could be, and I'm going to write it on here, it could be 8 1/16 by 6 and what would that be? 1/8, 1/16 smaller than that. So it would be 9/16. I find that really hard in 16ths. But if you do find this size just slightly too big, you can reduce it by 1/16 of an inch. But I always feel like it's better to be just slightly too big than too small. Okay, so I will post these on my blog. This will be posted on my blog and you'll be able to find all the measurements there. So let me bring in my trimmer, first of all. Let's start with the bottom. Again, I've got a piece of basic white, thick basic white. And this is 8 inches by 6.5. And we're just going to take and score this. Score it, not cut it. Score it all around at 1 inch. Really easy box to make because there's nothing fancy about it. And so, like I said, this is a great size for putting cards in. Uh-oh. My trimmer blade, or my scoring blade fell out. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's all around. Again, this piece was 8 inches by 6.5. And now I'm using Gorgeous Grape for the top, and this was 8 1/8 by 6 5/8, and we're going to do exactly the same thing, scoring it at 1 inch all around. Hey, Lorraine. Oh, is it cold? Yes, my girlfriend in England, she lives now on the East Coast, close to the East Coast somewhere, said they had snow last week. That's not great for April. It's almost like it was April Fool's Day. It's rainy here on the west coast of Canada. All right, so we've got these two pieces and they are scored at 1 inch all round. So let's work on the bottom first. So you're going to take your paper snips and you're going to cut on the score line up to the score line. So this is the score line. So you're going to cut up to the score line. So that's going to be 1 inch. And you're going to do this. So I've cut here, turn it 90 degrees, and now cut on this score line, turn it 90 degrees, cut on that score line, and again, oops, turn it 90 degrees and cut on that score line. Now let's take our bone folder. Oops, silicone mat wants to come unplay. All right, so now we're going to just take and crease on all of our score lines. You could do this first. I don't know, I trimmed it, I cut those first, but you could crease first and then cut them. It all works out the same. Okay, so and fold these little flaps and score. If you cut them, if you score them all first, it is just a couple less steps. All right, so now we've got all of these flaps. So these flaps are going to be folded in, but if you just take and trim, so just take a little notch out. So just cut on a diagonal, it doesn't have to be, this is maybe about 1/8 of an inch, but it can be even smaller than that. You just want to take some of the bulk off of these corners where you're going to be adhering it. It just makes it easier to adhere together is if you get some of the bulk off of the corners. So I'm just taking, I think this is called mitering, but it just take a little snippet off the corner. Hey, Nancy. All right, so now these little pieces are going to fold in like this, and they go on the inside. I'm going to use tear and tape. You can use multi-purpose liquid glue, but I like tear and tape just because it's a little stronger than the liquid glue, and I don't have to wait as long. It does mean that you're going to have to make sure you got it kind of right, because there's not much forgiveness with tear and tape like there is with the liquid glue. So whatever works for you, but I don't want you guys to be hanging around waiting for my glue to dry. So I'm just going to take and put my tear and tape on each of these 4 corners, or 4 flaps. All right. Now, if you're in the UK, your envelopes are different sizes, of course. So unfortunately, I don't have the measurements in metric for you. One of these days, I will get better at knowing. It's not just a straight conversion. I have to make or figure it out twice, and I didn't do that when I made this box. So, all right. So we're just going to take all of the little backing off of my tear and tape. So I've got it. And one more. There we go. Okay, so now these pieces you can take and just fold inwards, and just the edge lines up with the score line. So this edge, when it folds in, will line up with that score line on the side. So just repeat that on all 4 of the corners. Make sure they're adhered. Just press it. If you're using tear and tape, it sticks pretty well. All right, so there's the bottom of my box. Now we're going to do the same with the top. So let's do it the way I said maybe would be a few less steps. Score this first, or crease this first with your bone folder, and then we'll cut. Maybe a little bit faster. I love this. Gorgeous grape. Perfect color for Easter. All right, again, when you do these, so it doesn't really matter where you start. You're just going to start on one side and you're going to cut up on that score line to the score line. So that's 1 inch. Turn it 90 degrees and cut again up to the score line. Turn 90 degrees up to the score line. And there, all 4 corners. And then take and miter the corners by just taking a little kind of triangle piece off each side of this little tab. All right. And the top will go together exactly the same as the bottom. And if we've done it correctly, so I'm going to turn this upside down. Move this right side up, and now we're going to put tear and tape on each of these pieces. If we've done this correctly, the top should fit over the bottom, with fingers crossed. One more. All right. Backing off. Your take your pick tool is perfect for getting the backing off, because I always struggle if I don't have it. But something sharp, or you can use the point on your paper snips. That works as well. Of course, when I'm trying to do this in a hurry, it never comes off the way I want it to. And these ones. Okay, all right, so this will go together, she says confidently, exactly the same way. So line up the edge of your box, one side, with the score line on the flap. I realize I'm off camera a little bit, so here, there we go. So just turn it, and again, this folds in. So this score line lines up with the edge of the cut one. And now we have the top. And like I said, if this was measured correctly and I did it right, this fits perfectly. Now, I do think, so like I said, if you want it to be a little snugger, I mean, it fits nicely. If you want it to be a little more snug, you could make it 8 1/16 by 6 9/16 for the top. It would just make it a bit snugger fit, but it actually, it's, you know, not falling apart anyway. Sometimes I just worry about cutting too snug. I'm going to put some ribbon around this. So, okay, so let's do some decorating. Oh, my brother's birthday. That's what it's today, but we're meeting for dinner tonight. So I haven't seen him yet. I wished him happy birthday this morning, but I haven't seen him yet. That's 6 o'clock tonight. Thanks, Alice. All right, so we're going to take, I've cut a piece of designer series paper. This is from the Flowering Tulips. I could use that side, but I'm going to use the purple side because I'm actually decorating this. So we're not going to glue it all down quite yet until I have it all ready to assemble. So I went ahead and cut this piece of the flowering, the tulip borders. Isn't that pretty? And so I'm just going to just snip this off here because it's a little longer than I want it to be. And then I'm going to take and adhere this to the bottom of my piece. So the designer series paper, I was going to tell you how big this was. I cut this piece of designer series paper 5 3/4 by 4 1/4. And we will just take and put this across the bottom. Okay, so that's adhered. Now let's put some tulips together. I went ahead and cut out using the dies. So these are cut out using the dies. I'm going to make the 3-dimensional tulips because I just love these tulips. So I cut out one each. So this one makes the bud and these one makes the 2 bigger flowers. And then you need, for the inside, you need 2 of the kind of V-shaped or heart-shaped pieces. I like using designer series paper. And then you need 1 piece of the smaller one for the bud. And I like to use mini dimensionals to pop this up and make it even more 3-dimensional. So we're just going to take and put a mini dimensional on the back of each of my designer series paper pieces. And these pieces, when you cut them out with the dies, they have score lines on them. So you just fold on those score lines and it creates kind of the petal piece. And so I just take and put a middle piece inside. And then when you fold it, you've now got a tulip. And then I use a glue dot to just adhere the tulip closed. So now I've got that tulip. And we're going to do the same for this one. This one only folds in half. So we're just going to stick that in, and then that just folds in half. And that one closes down. And then this is the bud. And I'm never sure which way this goes. I think I've said that before. I can never figure out whether this closes this way or this way. I think it closes this way, which seems opposite to what you'd think, but I think that's the way it closes. At least I'm going to assume. And again, just use a glue dot to close it. All right. So now I've got my tulips made, and I also cut out 3 stems, 2 of the thin ones and 1 of the thicker one, and then 1 of the leaves. And I cut those out of or evening evergreen, which kind of goes along with this. Now I'm going to just take and try very carefully to get a tiny little bit of glue so I don't get glue all over the place. And I'm just going to tuck this down. Ooh, and this needs to be cut off. It's just a little bit too long. So I'm just going to tuck that down there. And the same with this one. I'll just cut this one off. Oops, I want it to go that way. All right, so let's make sure I cut the bottom. Okay, Nancy, thank you. I keep wanting to make that bud opposite to the way I think it actually should be. But it seems not quite right to close it that way, but all right. And then we'll do this one like that. Since I have 3 of the flowers. I just started, so I've been doing, well, I shouldn't say I have been doing them. I did what's called a conqueror challenge. So it's a walk, or you can do whatever you want, bike ride, but it's a virtual challenge, and you can go in and you do, so I've been walking, and so you sign up for these virtual challenges, and I just finished walking the Niagara Peninsula. And now it's kind of funny. I just started this morning. I am doing the flower route in the Netherlands, which is kind of cool. So I get to walk through all, and I'm hoping, because you can follow along on Google Maps, I'm hoping I'll actually get to see some of the tulip fields as I look on Google Maps to see where I'm at. But it's kind of cool that I just started that this morning. Nice. All right, so we'll put the bud in the middle. That one will go there. And this one will go in the middle, going the right way. Oopsie. All right, well, it'll go kind of like that. There we go. All right, so there's the top. I just need a sentiment piece. But I am, how am I going to do this? I was going to put ribbon around, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to put ribbon around now that I've got it, because actually I think I can. Okay, let's, ooh, this is the Highland Heather ribbon. So let's try this. This is the Highland Heather, what's it called? Grosgrain. So I'm going to wrap this. No, can't do that. Rats. Because I don't want this to go around like that, I don't think. I might not be able to put, maybe I'll just put a bow on. I thought I was going to be able to tie my box closed, but I probably should have thought about that before I put my tulips on. You could decorate your box before you actually put it together. That would just, I think this is okay. All right, so maybe what I'll do is I will tie a bow with, let's see if I can tie a bow with this. It's quite thick. Try not to make it too big. There we go. Well, that's not too bad. Okay. All right. Put my bow there with a glue dot. Hello. Not sure, just said, hey Alice, thank you. Nice, glad you could join. Just looking to see who said they were just joining late. I can't actually see who made that comment, but welcome, late or not, welcome. All right, so let's put this bow here. And then somewhere, did I? Where's a piece? Here's a piece of basic white. So let's stamp the Happy Easter in Gorgeous Grape. And find my paper snips. And we will just fussy cut this out. So when you're fussy cutting, you could use a die, you could use a punch, whatever works for you. When you're fussy cutting, steer with the hand, your opposite hand that has the scissors in it. It just makes your cutting, if you don't like fussy cutting, maybe trying this, and it might make it easier for you. So steer with the hand that doesn't have the scissors, isn't holding the scissors, and you might find it easier. There we go. Okay, and we'll use some dimensionals on this. Put that there. And the last thing I grabbed was, these are the pastels, pastel pearls. And they're the perfect color. So let's find, take your pick tool and just add in some, kind of mix them up a little bit. There. All right. Now I grabbed an envelope. I don't have cards handy, which I should have, but I grabbed an envelope just to show you. So this fits perfectly, the envelope. So this would fit quite a few cards. You could probably get 6 cards in here with envelopes, but you could also get some Easter treats, or maybe a combination of cards and envelopes and Easter treats. So, all right. I'm not sure who's going to get that box, but somebody will get that box. We'll figure that out. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. It was a little longer today, but I hope you enjoyed the box. I hope you'll try it out. I will put the measurements underneath the video so that if you want to try it out, you can certainly do that. And if you have questions, just leave a comment under the video. Don't forget, if you're coming in through YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you'll get notified when I do my videos, whether it's live or when I post a video tutorial for you. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Happy stamping. Bye.